Good morning, students. So in this video we are going to see some of the sample Java programs which we have already studied in module 2 by making use of JDK software. So first I will discuss the software which I have installed on my laptop. It's a JDK 14 version. So you just need to go to Google and search for JDK software free download. So whichever the version is available, you just download it and install on your system. Once you install, that software will be installed on a C drive. Here you can see, so that I have installed JDK 14, so you'll be able to see here JDK 14. In that there are so many folders like bin, conf, include, jbots, legal, lib, copyright, release. So in the bin folder, you just need to check whether whatever the basic tools are required to compile and execute the simple Java programs, those tools are available or not. So those tools already I have discussed in the class. So you can see the first tool which we require, it's a Java C. Here is a Java C, which is nothing but a Java compiler. By using this tool, you will be able to compile the Java program. Nothing but you are converting your Java source code into the bytecode instruction, which will contain the file in a extension as class file. Next we require is a Java, which is we call it as an interpreter, which will convert the bytecode instruction into the machine code, and based on that you will be able to see the output of the program. So these are the main two tools required for execution of the simple Java programs. Apart from that, there are so many others are available like Java P, Java Doc, then JDB, that is Java Debugger, Java, like that. So many are available, so you can make use of all these tools. So time being, we are just using the two tools. One is a Java C for compilation of the Java program, and second one is a Java so as to execute the program. So after installation of this, you need to go to the command prompt. So wherever it is command prompt available, just go to that. It is available in accessories. Say it's a command prompt. So now you will be able to see it's a user Anushka. It's a default directory in which I will be working. So I need to come out from this. So you can make use of a cd /. So it will come out of it. Then you need to go to jdk/14/bin folder. So once you do that one, then you will be able to execute and compile the simple Java program. So after doing this thing, next where you can go for typing the Java programs. So for this I'm going to use a notepad which is available. Here you can see, you just click on this, you will be able to get the notepad. There you can type the Java program. Then while saving it, you have to save that file in the JDK 14/bin folder. So once you save that file in this folder, you will be able to compile and execute the program. Now if you see, these are all the sample programs which I am going to discuss it in today's video. So first one, it's a test which I have already opened. So I will discuss that program first. So just let us concentrate on the first program, which is a test in which I'm just displayed a hello world message. So this program already we have discussed in the class. So just see the syntax. Class is a keyword, so all the letters are in a lowercase. The name of the class I have given, it's a test. Then opening and a closing brace. Then public static void main string args, it's a syntax of writing the main function in a Java. Then system.out.println hello world. So in this println method, whatever you display, whatever you type it within the double quotation mark, that you will be able to see in the output window. Now after doing this one, you need to go to file, just click on a save. So once you click on a save, I'll make it as a save as. So then it goes to your JDK bin folder. So there you need to click on all files. You have to give the name of the file. So whatever the name of the class is there, the same name you need to write it over here, test, then .java is the extension of the file. So after doing this, your file will be saved in the JDK bin folder. Next you need to open the command prompt. Here now we will be compiling and executing the first Java program. So you need to type a command javac, then test is the name of the file, .java, then press enter. If any errors are there in the program, it will list the errors over here. If no errors, it will come back to the prompt again. Next you need to go for executing the Java program, for which you need to type Java test. You do not need to give an extension over here, because once you compile the program, the file extension of that will be .class, and that .class file will be available in a JDK folder. So need not to give the extension, just give Java, then the name of the file without extension. When you press enter, you will be able to see the hello world, which is the output of the first program. So this is how you can do it. Otherwise, if suppose you have already installed the Eclipse software for execution of your lab experiments, the same tool you can use it for execution of these simple Java programs. Okay, so this is the first one, the first program. Then we'll go for the second one, where we are going to discuss about the basic arithmetic operators which will be used in a Java. So I have given a name for that one as a basic math.java. Open it. So you'll be able to see what exactly we have done here. Integer arithmetic operations we have performed, where it includes the addition operation, subtraction operation, multiplication operation, division operation, and a modulus operation. So if you see here, we have taken one integer variable a, and which is equal to 1 plus 1. So we have taken the two numbers, that is 1 and a 1, which we have added together and stored the result in a. B is equal to a into 3. So the value of a which is stored in a previous statement, that value I have taken it here, which is multiplied by 3. The result of it will be stored in a b. C is equal to b divided by 4. So I'll be getting the value of a b in the previous statement, so that value I'll be using it, divided by 4. So whatever the result is there, based on that I'll be getting it. Integer d is equal to c minus a. So a and a c value I'll be getting in the previous statements, the same value I'll use it here for subtraction, and based on that I'll be getting the result. And the last one, it's a modulus operator, b mod a, so which is going to give you the quotient of the division operation, and based on that we have displayed the result. Now if you want to go for compilation and execution of this program, again you can go for javac, or else it's already been typed over here. You can make use of a up arrow key, so that it will give you, just you need to change the name of the file, that is basic math.java. Press enter. If any errors, it will show, otherwise it will come back to the prompt. Then execute it by giving Java command, that is space basic math is the name of the file, which will have an extension .class. Just type the name of the file and press enter. Now if you see, you will be able to get the output as integer arithmetic, the very first statement in the program, that is system.out.println. We have displayed a message integer arithmetic. Then the next output statement is system.out.println a is equal to. So now if you say a is equal to 1 plus 1, so the value of a it has displayed you 2. Then b is equal to a into 3, so we got the value of a as a 2. 2 into 3 is a 6, so it has shown you the value of b as a 6. C is equal to B divided by 4. So the value of B is a 6. 6 divided by 4 will be getting 1.5 as the answer, as it's an integer arithmetic, so we'll be getting the result as just 1. Then D is equal to C minus A. The value of C is a, the value of A is a 2. So 1 minus 2, it's a minus 1. So it has shown you the value as a minus 1. E is equal to minus D. So as the value of a D, I got it as a minus 1. Minus of minus 1 will be plus 1. So it has shown you the value of E as a 1. Then F is equal to B mod A. The value of B is a 6. Value of A is a 2. 6 divided by 2. The remainder you are getting, it's a 0. So it will give you the remainder. So the value of F is a 0. So this is what a second program, which is basic mathematic operations. Then third, we will be studying, it's a logical operation. So for that I have given a name it as a logicop.java. Now here, and for this we have used a data type as a boolean. As I told, that boolean is a one primitive data type used in a Java, which will have the value either true or a false. So we have taken two boolean variables a and a b. The value of a we have initially set it to true. The value of a b we have set it to false, and then we are performing these bitwise, sorry, logical operations and or XOR. So these can be used for bitwise operations also, a or b. So the value of a is a true, the value of b is a false. OR operator, what exactly it gives you the output? If both are false, then it results in a false. All in other cases it's a true. As the value of a is a true, so the value of a c, it should give me it as a true, and will give you the result. The AND, logical AND operation, will give you result that if both are true, then it results in a true. In all other cases it's a false. So as the value of b is a false in this case, it will give me the answer as a false. So like that the further computation takes place. Then we'll see the output of this program. So I'm just going to change the name over here. It's a logicop.java. Then it's a logicop. Now if you can see the output, as the initial value of a is a true, initial value of b is a false, a or b it's a true, a and b is a false, a XOR b it's a true. Then there is a some expression we have used, it's a true, negation of a is a false. So this is what the usage of a logical as well as bitwise operators in the program on boolean type of data. On boolean type of data. So next we'll go for saying some of the examples of control statements. Control statements in the sense, we are going to have the three types of control statements in the program or in the Java programming language. So first one we call it as a branching, nothing but if else, if else, ladder, nested if, switch statement. Next we have it's a looping, that is while, do while, for. Another variation of a for is a for each, available in a Java. Then unconditional statements, that is break, continue, we can use in the program. So first we'll go for the usage of if else condition. So all of you know it's a syntax, because already you have studied that one in a C programming language. So I have given a name it as a max1.java here. So the syntax is if, then you have to specify a condition, and that condition should make use of a relational operators. Already we have studied what are the relational operators used in a Java. Then based on the result of the condition, any one statement will be executed. If the condition is a true, immediately after the if, whatever is there, that result will be displayed you. If the condition is a false, whatever you will write it in a else part, that will be displayed you as the output of the program. So here in this example we have taken two variables x and a y. We have assigned the value for x as a 10 and y equal to 20 respectively, and we are going to compare the value of a x with a value of a y. Which one is a greater, that we need to identify, and based on that I need to display the result. That is Java program to find maximum of two numbers. If the value of x is a greater than y, it should display me the value of x as a result. If the value of y is a greater than x, then it should display me the value of y as a result. So now we'll see what exactly it shows as the output. So the name of the program is a max1.java. Now if you see, the largest number is a 20. So the value of x is a 10, y is a 20. As 20 is a greater among these two, it has shown you the output as largest number is 20. So this is what the syntax of a if else. Now we'll go for if nested if else. So for which we have taken an example of finding the largest number among 3. So I have given a name it as a max3.java. Okay, that is Java program to find maximum of 3 numbers, in which we have used the nested if else syntax. Nested if else syntax is nothing but what? Writing the if statement within another if statement. It is called as a nested if statement. Writing if else statement within another if else statement is called as nested if else statement. And the same syntax we have used over here. We have taken 3 variables x, y, z, and we have assigned the values as 10, 20, 15 respectively. Then we need to find among these 3 numbers which one is a greater one. So for that, the first condition which we have taken, it's x is greater than y. First compare the two numbers x and y. Get the result which one is a greater. Suppose x is a greater, then you will be getting the x as a result over here. Then compare that result value with the third variable, that is z, and among that which one is a greater, that value you displayed here, that will be x. If x is not greater, obviously z will be the greater, that value you will be displaying over here. Suppose the value of x is not greater than y, then y will be greater in this case. So we'll come to the else part, and in this one we are comparing the value of a y with a z. So if y is greater than z, we'll be displaying the largest number as a y. If the value of z is a greater, then it will be displaying the result as a z. So this is what usage of a nested if else. So now we'll see what exactly it shows the output. max3.java. Remember, while giving the name of the program, you should give the same name whatever you have given to the class in which you have included a main method. It's a compulsory part in a Java. Now if you see, the largest number it has shown you a 20, which is nothing but the value of a y. So we have taken the value of x as a 10, y is 20, z is a 15. So among these 3 numbers, the value of y is a greater, so it has shown you the result as largest number is equal to 20. Okay, next we'll see another example of nested else if ladder. Else if ladder is nothing but what? Suppose you want to include more than 2 conditions in the program, and based on that any one statement has to be executed, then we make use of this nested if else ladder. else if ladder. So you need to, the syntax is like this one. First you have to write the if statement, a condition. If the first condition is false, it will go for the another condition which you have to write it as a else if, then a condition 2. If it is true, execute the statement, otherwise go for third condition, fourth condition, like that. At the last you will have the else part. So this is what exactly the if else if ladder. So this program shows the demonstration of if else if statement. So we have taken a month value is equal to 4, which is nothing but April, and based on that we are going to decide which season that month belong to. So we have taken a string type of a data as a season. If the value of month is equal to 12, which is nothing but a December, January, February, then the season we call it as a winter. Then March, April, May, it's a spring. June, July, August, it will be, sorry, it's a rainy, it should be rainy. And 9, 10, 11, that is September, October, November, it should be autumn. Like that we need to display it here. If apart from this, if anything else is there, then we are going to call it as a bogus month. That is between 1 to 12 only we have used here. If apart from 1 to 12, if you give any number like 13, 15, 30, 55, like that, then the season which we have initialized is a bogus month, and based on that it is going to show you the output. If else, compile the program. Then run the program. So you'll be able to see April is in the spring. As 3, 4, 5 we have assigned the season as a spring, so it will show you April is in the spring. So based on that you can change it here, 12, 1, 2 as a winter, 3, or else if you want to classify only 3 seasons, you can say 12, 1, 2, sorry, 11, 12, 1, 2 as a winter, 3, 4, 5, 6 as a summer, then 7, 8, 9, 10 as a rainy, and based on that you can display the result accordingly. Okay, so this is what if else ladder. Next we'll go for the switch statement syntax. So I have given a name it as a sample switch. So now if you see here, a simple example of a switch statement in which we have taken a one variable I, to which we have initialized a value as a 2, and there are 4 cases we have written. As the syntax of a switch statement you already know, because you have already studied in a C. Switch, then expression, opening brace, case, followed by case number or a case value. So here we have written case 0, case 1, case 2, case 3, and a default version. So based on the value of a I, whichever you have passed, any one statement will be executed. As the value of a I we are going to pass it as a 2, so case 2 will be executed and I'll be getting the result as I is 2. Suppose you are passing the value of I as 5, 6, 7, then it going to match with the default and you will be able to get the result as I is greater than 3, because we have written only the case values for 0 to 3, not more than 3. Okay, so now we'll go for execution of this program. So sample switch.java. Here I is 2. Suppose I change the value of I as a 6, So after doing the changes, save the program. Once again compile it. Then run it. So now we'll be getting a message I is greater than 3, which is a default one. So these are what the simple control statements, which we call it as a branching in the Java programming language. So now we'll see 3 to 4 programs on the array. So already you have studied a array. So what is an array? How do you define an array? Array, you can say it's a collection of homogeneous data elements. So if you want to store more than one element of a similar type, then you can go for storing it in a one single name, which we call it as an array, where array is classified as single dimensional and multi-dimensional array. So first we'll see the example of a single dimensional array. So here the syntax of declaring an array is, first you have to write the data type, then the name of the array. As is a single dimensional array, we have to make use of a one pair of a square bracket. Then new is an operator to create the array, then a data type followed by the size, that is what exactly, how many number of elements you want to store in that array. So that size you need to specify. So we have given the data type as an integer, the name of the array is a ARR, pair of a single bracket, then ARR is equal to new int a of 3. So this is a one way, or else you can go for combining the two statements like this: int ARR equal to new int 3. You can combine the two statements and you can write it as one like this: int ARR of this equal to new int of 3. So I have given the size of the array as a 3, and the elements which I want to store in those indexes are 10, 20, 30. So as already you know that array index always starts with a 0. So in the 0th index the value 10 will be stored, in the second 20 will be stored, and in the third 30 will be stored. So after storing the values, I have just displayed it by using a for loop for int I equal to 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus system.out.println ARR of I. So now we'll execute this program. ARR by array.java. If you see, array elements are 10, 20, 30. So like that you can go for creation of a single dimensional array, and you can go for storing the elements in that. So this is a one. Now we'll go for the two dimensional array. So I have given the name it as a 2D array dot Java. So here in Java, the multi-dimensional array or a two-dimensional array is classified into two types again. We call it as a two-dimensional array, and another we call it as a jagged array. In simple two-dimensional array, so whenever you create a two-dimensional array, it is going to have the row and a column value whatever you give it. It's a fixed one. When suppose you have given in this example, that is int 2D, it's a two-dimensional array, so two pairs of a square bracket equal to new int 3 and 3. So you have created an array of 3 by 3 where each row is going to have a fixed number of columns, that is 3. So like that you are going to have a 3 rows in this program, and based on that you have stored the value. So we have taken a 3 variables I, j, k. The value of k initially set it to 0, I is equal to 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus, j is equal to 0, j is less than 3, j plus plus, 2d ij equal to k. So initially the first index value which you want to store, it's 0, then you are incrementing the value of a k by 1. So the next value will be 1, 2. So in the first row you will be getting the output 0, 1, 2. Next row 3, 4, 5. Third row 6, 7, 8. Like that you will be getting the output of the program. So we'll see it. It's a 2D array. So you'll be getting the output as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nothing but what? Each row is going to have a fixed number of columns. So like that, if you want to have each row should contain different number of columns, then that type of a array we call it as a jagged array in Java, and that facility is available in a Java. So now we'll see the example of it, how to create a jagged array. So I have given a name it as a 2D array. Now if you see here, the syntax is, first you need to create a 2-dimensional array, and here you need to just specify only the number of rows. So here we have given the number of rows as a 4, and after that first row should contain how many number of columns, that you have to specify. That is 2d of 0 should contain 1 row, 2d of 1 should contain 2 columns, 2d, that is third row, should contain 3 columns, and fourth row should contain 4 columns. Like that we have to define it, so which is called as a jagged array. Again the same thing what we have done, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like that we have displayed the result of the program, nothing else in this. So now we'll run this program. So just change the name as 2D array to 2D again, AGAIN. So in the first row we have only 1 column, and we have stored the value it as a 0. Second row consists of 2 columns where we have displayed, or we have stored the values as 1 and 2. Third row 3 columns, 3, 4, 5. Fourth row 4 columns, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is how you can go for implementing the jagged array concept. Okay, so after this we'll go for the string concept. So all of you know how do you define a string. String is nothing but a collection of characters, or array of characters is also called as a string. So here we have stored or name it as a string array. So if you want to declare a string type of array, you can directly make use of a string, string, but remember it's not a primitive data type, it's a predefined class. It's a predefined class in a Java. String, where s is a capital over here, and this string consists of number of methods. Like you can go for compare to function, you can go for copy function, you can go for concat function, you can go for string length, that is if you want to find the length of the string, the length function is available. So many functions are available on which you can perform the operations, and based on that it will implement that part and it will use it in a program. So already defined functions in the string class we are using in this program, that is string ARR. So we have defined a string which consists of 3 string values, the name of the cities Madras, Delhi and Ahmedabad. So here length is a property available, so which will give you the length of the string. Length of the string is nothing but number of strings available. So as there are 3 strings available, so this value of a n will be 3. Then we have taken a one temporary string variable which we have set it to 0. What exactly we are doing is that we are comparing the alphabet of each string with another string, and whichever is a greater, based on that we are sorting it, so that we will be getting the result in alphabetical order. So in the alphabetical order. So here we have just used the bubble sort concept over here. I equal to 0, I is less than 1, I plus plus j is equal to I plus 1, j is less than I, j plus plus a of I, compare with a of j. If it is a greater, interchange. If it is not greater, keep as it is. So this bubble sort concept already you have studied in a C. The same concept we have used, and after sorting it we have displayed the result. For int I equal to 0, I is less than 1, sorry n, I plus plus arr of I. Now if you run this program, string array array dot java, if you see string after sorting, so first one is Ahmedabad, next is a Delhi, third one is a Madras. So it has displayed you this name of the cities in the alphabetical order. So if you want to change it, if you want to display the result in a reverse direction, you just need to change this greater than to less than symbol. Now we'll see what will get the output of this. Now if you see, it has shown you the result in a reverse direction. So first it has shown you the Madras, then Delhi, and then the Ahmedabad. So this is what the string concept in the Java.